In the sweltering heat of a Mississippi summer, the quiet town of Kirby was jolted awake by a mystery that would haunt its residents for years to come. It was the kind of day where the air seemed too thick to breathe, and the sun hung heavy in the sky, unrelenting and merciless. But the oppressive weather was quickly forgotten when news of young James Miller's disappearance spread like wildfire. James Seiler, a local high school star with a promising future, had vanished without a trace. The night before his disappearance, he'd been seen at a friend's graduation party, laughing and celebrating, seemingly without a care in the world. His sudden absence sent shockwaves through the community, leaving friends and family grappling with a plethora of unanswered questions. As the initial shock subsided, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation took charge, led by a determined detective who had recently joined the cold case unit. So, the detective, known for their tenacity and sharp mind, was drawn to James's case not only for its perplexing nature, but also because it resonated with them on a personal level. They couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to James's disappearance than met the eye, a puzzle that needed solving not just for justice, but to ease the collective conscience of a town suspended in disbelief. The investigation kicked off with a thorough examination of the party venue, interviews with attendees, and a deep dive into James's life. It became evident that while James was popular and loved, he harbored secrets that few were privy to. The deeper the detective delved, the more convoluted the case became, leading them into a labyrinth of small-town secrets, unresolved conflicts, and a shadowy figure lurking in the background whose presence was felt but never seen. As days turned into weeks with no sign of James, the detectives' resolve hardened. They knew that finding him would require unraveling the tightly wound threads of deceit, betrayal, and hidden truths. What started as a missing person case soon morphed into a gripping tale of mystery, demanding every ounce of skill and determination the detective had to. The investigation into James Miller's disappearance began to gain momentum as Detective Alex Ramsey sifted through the evidence with meticulous attention. Alex, having recently transferred to the cold case unit, was no stranger to the challenges of piecing together puzzles left cold by time. However, this case, with its shroud of mystery and the palpable anguish of James's family, felt different. It was personal. As the sweltering days of summer marched on, Alex delved into James's life, uncovering layers of complexity that belied the young man's outward charm and popularity. Interviews with friends and acquaintances painted a picture of someone struggling with burdens too heavy for his age. There were whispers of secret relationships, conflicts with local figures of authority, and an unexpected involvement in the small-town political undercurrents. The break in the case came unexpectedly. A review of surveillance footage from the night of the disappearance revealed a fleeting image of James, not heading towards his home as believed, but in the opposite direction, towards the dense woodlands that skirted the town. This revelation prompted a renewed search of the area, involving local volunteers and law enforcement officers from neighboring counties. The community came together in a show of solidarity that underscored the urgency of finding James' son. Amidst the search, Alex uncovered an old, forgotten cabin hidden deep within the woods, its existence barely acknowledged by the townsfolk. The discovery of the cabin, which contained personal items that unmistakably belonged to James, shifted the nature of the investigation. Thus, what was once a search for a missing boy became a complex puzzle involving hidden rendezvous, clandestine meetings, and the unearthing of a secret that threatened to upend the very fabric of Kirby. Each clue led Alex deeper into the heart of the mystery, revealing a web of deception that spanned years. It became clear that James's disappearance was not an isolated event, but the culmination of a series of actions and reactions that had festered under the surface of the town's serene facade. As the detective pieced together the evidence, the community's image of James began to shift. Behind the facade of the all-American teenager lay a young man entangled in a web of intrigue, driven by desires and motivations that many found difficult to understand. Alex, however, saw beyond the rumors and conjectures, recognizing the vulnerability and desperation that had driven James to make the choices he did. The search for James Miller thus transformed from a mere investigation into a journey into the heart of a community, forcing its members to confront the realities they had long chosen to ignore. For Alex, the case became a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity and the unyielding pursuit of truth amidst a sea of secrets. In the relentless heat of the Mississippi summer, the detective's quest for answers continued, each step forward illuminating the darkness that had enveloped James's fate. The path was fraught with challenges, but Alex's resolve never wavered. The truth, no matter how elusive, was out there, waiting to be discovered, and Alex was determined to find it, not just for James and his family, but for Kirby itself, which could only begin to heal once the shadows of the past were brought into the light. As Detective Alex Ramsey pushed deeper into the investigation, the discovery of the cabin and its secrets marked a pivotal moment in the case. The dense forests of Mississippi, once merely a backdrop to the town of Kirby, now stood as silent witnesses to a mystery unfolding within their shadows. The cabin, hidden by years of overgrowth and neglect, seemed to hold the key to understanding James Miller's disappearance. Alex spent hours at the cabin, poring over every piece of evidence, each personal item that hinted at James's life, away from the public eye. It was in this solitude, amidst the whispers of the forest, that Alex felt closest to uncovering the truth. The cabin was not just a physical space. It was a portal into the hidden layers of James's life, revealing a young man torn between conflicting worlds. The detective's investigation revealed that James had been meeting someone at the cabin, a figure shrouded in secrecy. The identity of this person became the focal point of Alex's efforts. Was it a friend, a lover, or someone more sinister? The clues were fragmented, but Alex was determined to piece them together. As the search expanded, so did the involvement of the community. SAS, volunteers, once hopeful, began to feel the weight of the search, their initial enthusiasm tempered by the reality of the task at hand. Yet, it was in these moments of collective endeavor that the town of Kirby showed its true spirit, united in the face of uncertainty. Meanwhile, Alex delved into the political undercurrents that James had found himself entangled in. It was a complex web of alliances and rivalries that extended beyond the town's borders. Alex uncovered evidence of secret meetings, covert exchanges, and political machinations that provided a new perspective on James's actions. What initially appeared to be personal choices were now seen as moves in a larger, more dangerous game. The detective's pursuit of the truth led to confrontations with figures who preferred the past, remained buried. Threats, both veiled and overt, began to emerge, a clear sign that Alex was on the right path. Yet, these attempts to intimidate only served to strengthen Alex's resolve. Sace, the detective, understood that solving James's disappearance was not just about bringing a perpetrator to justice. It was about exposing the hidden fractures within Kirby, fractures that threatened the very foundation of the community. In the heart of the forest, Alex found not just the remnants of James's secret life, but also the courage to confront the darkness. The cabin, once a place of mystery and fear, became a beacon of hope. It represented the possibility of answers, of closure, and of justice. As autumn approached, the changing leaves mirrored the transformation within Kirby. The investigation had altered the town in indelible ways, challenging its residents to face uncomfortable truths and to question the facades that had long concealed the realities of their community. For Alex, the journey was far from over. The path ahead promised more revelations and challenges, but the detective was undeterred. Armed with the evidence gathered from the heart of the forest, Alex was ready to face whatever lay ahead, driven by a deep-seated belief in the power of truth to heal and to restore. The story of James Miller, once shrouded in mystery, was slowly coming into the light, piece by piece. And at the center of it all was Detective Alex Ramsey, a beacon of determination in the search for answers that lay hidden in the heart of the forest. As autumn's grip took hold, casting a mosaic of gold and red across the landscape of Kirby, Detective Alex Ramsey found themselves standing at a crossroads in the investigation. The evidence collected thus far painted a complex picture of James Miller's disappearance, but critical pieces of the puzzle remained elusive. It was clear that the answers Alex sought were buried deep within the entangled lives of the town's residents. Such, determined to break through the veil of secrecy, Alex organized a town meeting, calling upon the residents of Kirby to share any information they might have, no matter how insignificant it seemed. The meeting was a bold move, one that Alex hoped would shake loose the truth from the shadows where it had lain hidden for too long. As the townspeople gathered, the air was thick with anticipation and unease. Alex addressed the crowd, laying out the facts of the case with precision and appealing to the community's sense of justice. It was a moment of vulnerability for Kirby, as old wounds were reopened and long-buried grievances came to light. Among the attendees was a figure who had remained on the periphery of the investigation, someone whose connection to James had been overlooked. This individual, a friend who had shared James's passion for environmental activism, came forward with a revelation that changed the course of the investigation. James had been planning to expose a local corruption scheme tied to environmental destruction, a cause he had been deeply committed to. This new information led Alex to reevaluate the motives behind James's disappearance. It was no longer just a personal matter. It had become a battle for the soul of Kirby. The detective delved into the murky waters of local politics, uncovering a network of corruption that extended far beyond a simple land dispute. As the investigation deepened, the storm clouds that had been gathering on the horizon finally broke, unleashing a deluge that mirrored the turmoil unfolding within the town. Alex, undeterred by the brewing storm, continued to piece together the evidence, drawing ever closer to the truth. The revelations from the town meeting had ignited a fire within the community. Such people who had once turned a blind eye to the machinations of those in power began to question the status quo. It was as if James's spirit had sparked a movement, challenging Kirby to confront its darkest secrets and to demand accountability from those who had betrayed its trust. In the midst of this upheaval, Alex received an anonymous tip that led to a clandestine meeting in the forest, near the cabin that had become a symbol of the investigation. There, under the cover of darkness and the relentless downpour, Alex came face to face with the mastermind behind the corruption scheme, the person responsible for James's disappearance. The confrontation was tense. A high-stakes game of cat and mouse played out amid the thunderous roar of the storm. With the evidence in hand and the truth finally revealed, Alex was ready to bring the perpetrator to justice, to close this chapter of Kirby's history with the conviction of those responsible for James's fate. As dawn broke, the storm subsided, leaving in its wake a town forever changed. The battle for justice had been fought and won, but the war for Kirby's soul was just beginning. Detective Alex Ramsey, standing amidst the ruins of secrecy and lies, knew that the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. But for now, there was a sense of closure, a feeling that James Miller's disappearance had not been in vain. The fourth part of this story weaves together the themes of community, corruption, and the quest for justice, setting the stage for the final resolution of the mystery surrounding James Miller's disappearance and the transformative journey of Detective Alex Ramsey and the town of Kirby. In the aftermath of the storm, as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the retreating clouds, Detective Alex Ramsey stood at the edge of the clearing, reflecting on the tumultuous events of the night. The confrontation had been revealing, not just in terms of the case, but also in highlighting the courage and resilience of the people of Kirby. With the mastermind behind the corruption exposed, it was time to bring the pieces together and solve the puzzle of James Miller's disappearance once and for all. As the community began to heal, Alex focused on tying up the loose ends of the investigation. The evidence collected from the cabin, coupled with the testimonies unearthed during the town meeting, painted a clear picture of the motives behind the attempt to silence James. His activism, driven by a deep love for his hometown and its natural beauty, had threatened to unveil the greed and deceit that lay hidden beneath the surface of Kirby's serene facade. With the perpetrator in custody, Alex dedicated themselves to ensuring that justice was served. The trial that followed was a watershed moment for Kirby, a public reckoning that laid bare the depths of the corruption that had taken root in the town. It was a difficult time, as the community grappled with the betrayal of those they had once trusted. Yet, it was also a time of unity and strength, as the townspeople came together to rebuild what had been lost. In the midst of the legal proceedings, Alex found themselves drawn back to the cabin in the woods. It was there, amidst the quiet whispers of the trees, that they felt closest to understanding James's passion and his pain. The cabin had become a symbol of the young man's struggle, a tangible reminder of the cost of standing up for one's beliefs. The resolution of the case brought a sense of closure to James's family and to Kirby. But for Alex, the journey was far from over. The experience had changed them, igniting a passion for justice that would drive their future investigations. They knew that there were more stories like James's out there, more secrets hidden in the shadows, waiting to be brought into the light. As Alex left the cabin for the last time, they carried with them not just the satisfaction of having solved the case, but also a renewed commitment to their role as a detective. In the battle against injustice, they had found their calling, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The sun set on Kirby, casting long shadows across the landscape. The storm had passed, leaving behind a town forever changed, but stronger for having faced its darkest hour. And at the heart of it all was Detective Alex Ramsey, a beacon of hope in the quest for truth and justice. In the quiet aftermath of the trial, Detective Alex Ramsey found the rhythms of life in Kirby slowly returning to normal. Yet, the echoes of the truth uncovered during the investigation resonated within the heart of the community, prompting a period of introspection and change. With the malevolent force that had once cast a shadow over the town now removed, Kirby's residents began to embrace a newfound sense of unity and purpose. Community meetings, once forums for confrontation and suspicion, transformed into gatherings where ideas for the town's future were eagerly discussed. Environmental initiatives, inspired by James Miller's passion, sprouted, championed by those who had once been indifferent to the cause. Amidst this renewal, Detective Ramsey couldn't shake the feeling of restlessness. The resolution of James's case had left a void, a hunger for justice that one case alone couldn't satisfy. The experience had sharpened Alex's skills and resolve, but it also opened their eyes to the countless other stories waiting to be told, the silent pleas for help that echoed just beneath the surface of everyday life. Driven by this realization, Alex decided to take a bold step forward. SARS. They proposed the establishment of a dedicated unit within the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, one focused not just on solving cold cases, but also on engaging with communities to prevent the kind of decay that had nearly consumed Kirby. This initiative, dubbed Project Echo, aimed to create a bridge between law enforcement and the people they served, ensuring that the lessons learned from James's case would forge a path toward a more vigilant and compassionate future. As Project Echo gained momentum, Alex found themselves traveling to different towns, each with its own set of mysteries and shadows. Yet, regardless of the location, the mission remained the same: to bring light to the forgotten corners, to give a voice to the voiceless, and to ensure that justice, once elusive, became a cornerstone of every community. Back in Kirby, as the seasons changed and the memory of the storm faded into the tapestry of the town's history, the legacy of James Miller lived on. His story, a catalyst for change, continued to inspire those who heard it, a reminder of the power of truth and the indomitable spirit of those who seek it. For Detective Alex Ramsey, the journey was far from over. With each case, with each truth uncovered, they were reminded of the endless battle against the darkness. Yet, they also knew that within that struggle lay the essence of their purpose, the very reason they had chosen this path. As they looked ahead to the next case, the next town, Alex carried with them the echoes of Kirby, a symphony of truth that would guide their way. As the Project Echo initiative began to take root, Detective Alex Ramsey found themselves in the small town of Ellington, a place seemingly untouched by time, but harboring shadows just beneath its idyllic surface. The town, much like Kirby, was a tapestry of stories and secrets, and it wasn't long before Alex encountered a case that would challenge them in unforeseen ways. The disappearance of a young artist. Leah Thompson had left the town of Ellington in a state of uneasy quiet. Leah, known for her vibrant paintings that captured the essence of Ellington's landscapes, had vanished without a trace, her studio left in disarray. The local law enforcement had few leads, and the case quickly grew cold, her artwork the only reminder of the mystery that had befallen her. Driven by the success in Kirby, Alex approached Leah's case with a determination to shed light on the darkness that had enveloped her life. The investigation led them through the winding streets of Ellington into the lives of its residents, each a character in their own right, hiding pain and secrets behind polite smiles and curt nods. As Alex delved deeper, they discovered that Leah's art was more than just a passion. It was her way of challenging the status quo, of highlighting the fractures within the community. Her latest series, a departure from her usual landscapes, depicted Ellington's forgotten corners and overlooked stories, stirring discomfort among those who preferred the town's darker truths remain hidden. The breakthrough came when Alex uncovered a series of threatening letters among Leah's possessions, each more ominous than the last. These letters, anonymous and chilling, hinted at a motive rooted in fear, fear of change, of exposure. It became clear that Leah's disappearance was no accident. It was an act designed to silence her, to preserve the facade of tranquility that Ellington so desperately clung to. Armed with this new understanding, Alex pieced together the puzzle, tracing the letters to a figure deeply embedded within the town's power structure. This revelation not only solved Leah's disappearance, but also exposed the underbelly of Ellington, a town willing to go to great lengths to protect its image. In the end, Leah was found, her spirit unbroken despite the attempts to silence her. Her return sparked a transformation within Ellington, as her art, once a subject of contention, became a beacon of hope and a catalyst for dialogue and healing. For Detective Ramsey, the case reaffirmed the belief in the power of resilience and the importance of seeking the truth, no matter the cost. Shadows and Redemption was not just the story of Leah's return, but also a narrative of a community confronting its shadows, led by the unwavering resolve of a detective dedicated to bringing light to the darkest of places. As Alex left Ellington, the lessons learned and the bonds formed lingered, a testament to the enduring impact of their work. Ahead lay more towns, more stories, and more shadows to explore. But Alex Ramsey, fueled by the victories in Kirby and Ellington, was ready to face whatever challenges awaited on the horizon. In the wake of Ellington's awakening, Detective Alex Ramsey set their sights on a new horizon, a town veiled in an almost palpable silence that seemed to cloak its streets in mystery. The town of Waverly presented itself as just another dot on the map, but beneath its calm exterior, a pulse of unresolved tension and silent pleas for justice waited to be discovered. Waverly's case centered around the vanishing of Thomas Klein, a local journalist known for his investigative pieces on the town's most sensitive issues. His sudden disappearance left a void in the community, a silence where once there was a voice that dared to speak truth to power. The local authorities had hit a wall, and the case languished, becoming yet another unsolved mystery, another heartbeat of silence in the town's history. Drawing from the experiences in Kirby and Ellington, Alex approached the case with a nuanced understanding of small-town dynamics. The detective knew that solving Thomas's disappearance would require unraveling the complex web of relationships and secrets that defined Waverly / It was a task that demanded patience, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. The investigation led Alex down the winding paths of Waverly's past, through the archives of Thomas's articles, which shed light on the contentious issues he had been probing: land disputes, environmental concerns, and political scandals. Thomas's work had touched on the nerve points of the community, earning him both respect and enemies. As Alex delved deeper, they discovered a pattern of subtle intimidation against Thomas, a campaign designed to silence him. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, pointing towards a network of influence and corruption that sought to control the narrative of Waverly. It was a realization that cast Thomas's disappearance in a new, more ominous light. Determined to break the silence that had enveloped Thomas's case, Alex organized a series of covert interviews with those close to him, piecing together the journalist's final days. It was a journey that took the detective from the shadowed corners of Waverly's power corridors to the heart of its community, where the fear of reprisal waged a silent war against the yearning for truth. In the climax of the investigation, a critical piece of evidence emerged, hidden within Thomas's personal effects, a recording that captured the threats against him and, more importantly, the voice of his would-be silencer. This breakthrough, a tangible echo of Waverly's silenced heartbeat, paved the way for the case's resolution. Confronting the architect of the silence, Alex unraveled the motives behind Thomas's disappearance, exposing the corruption that had sought to bury the truth. It was a confrontation that reverberated through the streets of Waverly, breaking the silence that had long held the town in its grip. The heartbeat of silence concluded with Waverly transformed, its silence replaced by the resounding echo of justice. For Detective Ramsey, it was a reaffirmation of their path, a reminder that even in the quietest places, the truth's heartbeat could be found and amplified. As Alex left Waverly, the silence that once seemed oppressive now carried a new tone, one of hope and renewal. The detective's journey continued, each town, each case a testament to the power of persistence and the enduring quest for justice in the face of silence. I'm here to continue crafting the narrative based on your guidance, since we're moving forward without a direct reference to the previously established parts and themes. I'll create a new chapter that follows the progression of Detective Alex Ramsey's journey. In the aftermath of the Waverly case, Detective Alex Ramsey found themselves at a crossroads, both literally and metaphorically. The successes in Kirby, Ellington, and now Waverly had not only reshaped these communities, but also deeply affected Alex, instilling a profound sense of purpose and responsibility. Yet, with each case resolved, the emotional toll grew, leaving Alex to ponder the path ahead. It was during this period of reflection that a new case emerged, one that would challenge Alex in unprecedented ways. The town of Marlowe, nestled beside the scenic but troubled waters of the Marlowe River, was facing a crisis. The river, once the lifeblood of the community, had become a contentious battleground, pitting environmentalists against industrial interests. Amidst this turmoil, a prominent environmental activist, Sarah Jennings, had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Marlowe's story was a tapestry of conflicting narratives, each thread woven with passion and conviction. Sarah's advocacy for the river's protection had made her both a beloved figure and a target for criticism. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through Marlowe, revealing deep divisions within the town. As Alex embarked on the investigation, they quickly realized that the heart of this case lay in understanding the complex relationship between Marlowe's residents and the river itself. Interviews with Sarah's colleagues, So opponents and family painted a picture of a woman dedicated to her cause, but aware of the dangers her activism attracted. Digging deeper, Alex uncovered a web of financial and political interests tied to the river's use, with Sarah's efforts threatening the status quo. It became evident that her disappearance was not a simple act of retribution, but part of a larger struggle for the soul of Marlowe. The detective's journey took them to the banks of the Marlowe River, where they discovered evidence of sabotage against Sarah's latest environmental project. So, this clue led Alex to a confrontation with the forces seeking to control Marlowe's future. A confrontation that would test Alex's resolve and the community's willingness to confront its own reflection in the troubled waters of the river. In a dramatic resolution, Alex managed to unravel the conspiracy against Sarah, leading to her safe return and the exposure of corruption within Marlowe's industrial sector. The case's conclusion marked not just a victory for justice, but also a turning point for Marlowe, as the town began to bridge the divide between progress and preservation. For Detective Alex Ramsey, Bridges Over Troubled Waters was a reminder of the delicate balance between human ambition and the natural world. Source. It reinforced the belief that true justice involves not only solving crimes, but also healing communities and fostering dialogue. As Alex left Marlowe, the detective carried forward the lessons learned from the waters of the Marlowe River, ready to face new challenges and continue the fight for truth and justice, wherever it may lead. After the resolution of the Marlowe case, Detective Alex Ramsey stood at the edge of the town, looking out over the landscape that had been the backdrop of so many battles, both personal and communal. The victories in Kirby, Ellington, Waverley, and Marlowe had not only brought justice and healing, but also taught Alex invaluable lessons about the strength of the human spirit and the power of community. In the quiet moments of reflection, Alex realized that their journey had been about much more than solving cases. It was about mending the fabric of communities torn by secrets and lies, about standing up for those without a voice, and about finding a way forward even when the path seemed insurmountable. Each town, with its unique challenges and characters, had left an indelible mark on Alex, shaping them into not just a better detective, but a catalyst for change. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the land, Alex felt a profound sense of peace. The work would continue. Of course, there would always be more mysteries to solve, more injustices to right. But for now, there was a moment to breathe, to take stock of the journey so far, and to look ahead to the future. Alex's phone rang, pulling them back from their reverie. On the line was a call to action, a new case in a distant town that promised fresh challenges and new opportunities for growth. With a renewed sense of purpose, Alex answered the call, ready to embark on the next chapter of their journey. As they drove away from Marlowe, Alex carried with them the memories of the people they had met and helped along the way. These experiences, these moments of connection and understanding, were the true rewards of their work. They were reminders that, in the end, justice was not just about solving crimes, but about building bridges between the past and the future, between despair and hope, between darkness and light. The road ahead was long, and the horizon stretched out endlessly, a canvas of possibilities. Sauce, Detective Alex Ramsey, with a heart full of stories and a spirit unbroken by the trials they had faced, was heading towards that horizon. A horizon of hope, not just for themselves, but for all the towns and communities yet to be touched by their unwavering pursuit of truth and justice.